Hey guys, Sajady here. Hope you are all doing really fantastic. Hope you had a holiday, I don't know, great holiday season. You can't really, these days you can't really say, you can't really say, hey, Merry Christmas, or anything like that, because it might offend somebody else. So you never know what can go on, right? So just give me a second just to reset again. Yeah, so happy whatever that you want to wish. It's and I can actually explain why that is. Where everybody has to be so specific, but not in this Moss on Sunday, but some other Moss on Sunday coming up into the new year. We've got a lot of good things coming up. Uh, this Moss on Sunday, Spider-Man, the multiverse, astral form, the Matrix. Is it real? There's more and more and more movies like that. If you look at some of the Netflix originals coming up or have come up, right? You've got Rick and Morty, you've got Tenet, you've got Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a strange one because I watched that movie and it was really interesting. I watched that movie and I'm going, wait a second, they're using the exact verbiage or the exact definitions that I coined a few years back, like time loops and some of the other things that those XIers, those who've been with me. So if you watch Doctor Strange, it's like, damn, that's what Ma says. That's the same definition. It probably is. I have a lot of Hollywood writers, so it's nice. It'd be cool if they gave me credit, but it's okay. Anyway, um, you'll probably start to see more and more like spatial referencing, more terminology that I've coined up recently as well, because I'm getting more and more into how space and time works. I've always been into how space and time works, and that's what's really different about me. The old paradigms was, spirituality, right? And this is how, say, people transform over the years, and then that will lead us to Spider-Man and is this stuff real? So over time, over the millennia, since the beginning of dawn, since the beginning of man, people have always wondered how this stuff works. This stuff works. So in the beginning, there was a lot of like spirituality, looking up in the skies and then creating gods, sky gods and earth gods and all that. And then so a lot of spirituality, and then it became religion. And I'm not talking about the real men and women that were really, say, religious and they practiced it properly, but the other forms, and even them, they didn't look at it from a science point of view. They looked at it from, well, more of a religious aspect, more that there's, higher deity, however you want to describe that. And then it controls this air, it controls this realm, and it could control this realm. I'm not saying it can't. There's a science behind it though. And that's what I explained. But over time, it became into control. And then we got into spirituality, right? To help us understand who we really are. And now, back in the day, and I believe, they had, I don't know which came first, who came first, Maxwell Maltz. I really think that he was really the father of self-improvement, self-help, and so on like that, or psychology. He really brought it out into the forefront. Now, there might have been, psychology before him, and I'm sure there was. Yeah, now that I'm getting down. So there's psychology and so on, but very rudimentary, right? On how this stuff works right here. And that's the key. How does this stuff work right here? And then from there, if you really want a cool book, one of the best books I've seen is Maxwell Maltz, Psychocybernetics. It helps you understand the psyche of the mind. Okay, and actually, it helps you understand what I teach. It goes way beyond and some of the after effects that the psyche of the mind or psychology does not help you with. So we got psychology, and then we've got psychocybernetics, self-improvement. This is where you have NLP, and you have, I don't know, so many different other, say, flavors of self-improvement. Like you've got the Tony Robbins side, you've got the Joe Dispenza side, you've got all these other fantastic They're fantastic. I'm not knocking them down, but there's always something missing. So man has always been searching and searching and searching on, hey, what can we do to self-improve? In fact, a lot of those camps finally come to me, whether it's religion, self-improvement, or anything else, and they go, oh, wow, I really found the real thing. So what's the real thing? The real thing has always been around us, by the way. We just haven't been evolved enough to understand what it is. And now, even science, and then the spiritual side, the religious side, all those things are moving together, going, oh, that's what it's about. So there's truth in religion, right? Some of that truth in religion, there's a lot of non-truth out there, but let's pull out just like in your life, right? There's a lot of truths in your life, but then there's a lot of stuff that you need to let go of, right? And that's what I'm here for. And that's how we really transform not only you, but humanity. So there's a lot of truth in religion. The truth will pull out. The truth in spirituality will pull out. The truth in science will pull out and will merge together. And as we merge together, those things that are phenomena out there, those things that we call magic, those things that people got beheaded or drowned because they thought they were witches, those things that Albert Einstein said, spooky things at a distance, or something to that. Those things that, scientists don't want to admit to because they don't understand it. Because if they admitted to it, all their concepts of how they see this reality will not work. Exactly. And again, all those concepts of this reality would not work. So what do? Science, they're just like people. They're people, right? People, what do? They don't want to believe the truth. They don't want to believe the underlying, say, structure or system on what causes what. And this is a huge change, by the way. You see this stuff and it works. Some of the methods might be very, very, say, questionable on what I do, and not because they're dark or illegal or anything like that. They're questionable because it goes against the grain of all that you've believed in. Literally, it goes against the grain of all that you believed in. Not that those things have been wrong for you, by the way. There's just a better version of it, a higher truth to it. And that's what we're getting into, the higher truth on, how the space and time works. As I've said before, I've always said it, I've clarified it even more, or honed my message more. It's anything that is going on with you that's wrong. It's about space and time. You have psychological issues, space and time. The original core reason, again, space and time. You have money issues, space and time. You have health issues, space and time. You have any issue in this reality, it's all how you function on space and time. Right? You might go, that's way far off. I always go to the top level, say, explanation, or as Elon Musk says, you need to go to, the top level principle, right? The first principle method. Yeah, exactly. The first principle on anything that goes wrong in this reality, including the wars, including all the bloodshed, including all the stuff that's out there, space and time. We don't know who we are. If we understood who we are in a physical form, well, we wouldn't have any issues. We would be grand beings, limitless beings. Even if you're a scientist or atheist that doesn't believe that, deep inside that we have like limitless beings or potential within us. We just haven't accessed it because we didn't have the tools yet. And now we're getting more and more of the tools. So you start to see, and Hollywood is a really good, say, icon on seeing kind of the future, right? So this is unfortunately, they use that sometimes as propaganda to move people into the wrong direction. That's what's really sad. So in this Moss on Sundays, we're going to talk about Spider-Man. Who saw the Spider-Man episode, the new Spider-Man movie this past holiday season, and then Matrix? We're going to go see it pretty soon as well, and we'll talk about the Matrix. So Spider-Man, the multiverse, astral form, is it all real? So what's really real in movies? I would be that person to know because I'm the guy that can actually bend the Matrix. You heard it. I can bend space and time. It's all about, and many of you who've transformed radically, that's what I do for you. I literally bend space and time to make it really simple. So I understand what these movies say are trying to put out there, and a lot of the stuff is accurate. And in this Moss on Sunday, we're going to get into the accuracy. So you guys have heard Spider-Man, right? The Matrix, Interstellar, where they're in different time forms. Tenet, where they repeat time. What was it? The Doctor Strange movies, right, where they can just time loop, repeat times. Are those real? Rick and Morty. I love Rick and Morty. If you haven't watched it, you really have to have a certain kind of brain to understand Rick and Morty, or like Rick and Morty. But it's pretty high level intellectual stuff that they talk about, wrapped up in anyway, not politically correct ways. So is the multiverse real? So in the multiverse, or in Spider-Man, they talk about, the multiverse. They talk about, so in the movie, and I hate to, ruin it for you for those who didn't see it, but it's really good. In the movie Spider-Man, in the new Spider-Man movies, there's 3 Peter Parkers, right? And each one living different lives. And they all come together in one multiverse to help, save all these, fight against, the evil. Okay. The strangest thing about all those movies, we're still fighting good and bad. That's the only concept we ever understand. So that consciousness evolves with this level as well, by the way. If it was in the real scenario, we wouldn't have good or bad, or the way we'd understand that. It'd be a total different definition on how we exist here. So is the multiverse real? Are there 3 Peter Parkers, or are there millions of you having a different reality? Is there a Sally that, is dysfunctional here, but then there's a Sally that is all perfect here? And so again, millions of different, say, doppelgangers that are out there, for different versions of you that are out there. Are those possibilities real? And where are they all? Who are they all? And are they all living? Are they all experiencing this possibilities, right? It's a big question. A lot of scientists believe that. How about you guys? Do you guys believe that? And there's a little lag here, but Ad Astra, yeah, I've seen that. Groundhog Day, exactly. All those things are about it. But do you all believe that there are millions of different you in different realities or different universes? Again, the multiverse, that is, so millions of different Earths. But if you think about that, look at the possibility, or look at the numbers that can happen. So everybody says there's a different Earth that exists, that, say, I could be a chef in a different Earth with all these other people. So if you look at that, yes, it would be infinite probabilities, but it would be infinity times infinity, because how many different possibilities of you would exist? For you to exist, all those different possibilities, you'd have to create all those different, say, Earths. So you multiply that by, about 7.8 billion people. It's not very efficient. Okay. The multiverse, it's about efficiency. Okay. So it doesn't work that way. Is it real? In some aspects, it's real, but let's just break it down for you really quickly. And then I do a lecture series, by the way, on the deeper understanding, if you guys are the scientist type and understand and want to really understand that. So it's the lecture series. And then also the Moss experience. It allows you to understand how realities, or how consciousness works. So quickly, the multiverse is all about, there's only one Earth. Okay? There's only one universe. There's multiverses. There's different there's not different versions. There's different, say, there's a different universe with a different sun, different earth, all that. It's not like a duplicate. Okay. So in that sense, there's a multiverse, but it's not a duplicate of this reality. Okay. So there's only one, say, and we're going to just talk about this universe. So there's only one universe. So within this one universe, there's only one sun, one earth. Okay. So within this earth, there is only one living you, one who, say, exists at one time. Are there different possibilities of what you could be? Absolutely. And that's that. And again, so we're just defining it more and more. And that's how people see it. Because what I do is say that point, XYZ, okay, point XYZ, and it's a three-dimensional coordinate. The fourth dimension is what is really the key. The fourth dimension is really key on this. And if I'm losing you, it's okay. Just listen to it over and over again. So for example, in coordinate XYZ, okay, coordinate XYZ, it allows you to go, hey, I'm a billionaire. Okay. In coordinate ABC, it's an opportunity for you. Okay. Or a reality that you're not a billionaire. You might be something else. In MNO or whatever it might be, you're another possibility of yourself. So you have all these different possibilities that are out there for you, but the only one that exists is the one that you give life to. So this is all an inventory of all the possibilities that live within this matrix, within this blockchain. Okay. And I can explain blockchain, by the way, as well for you. I'll leave that for the next Moss on Sunday. So does that make sense to you all? Okay. So think of it as inventory. Okay. Or think of it as a closet. In one, say, act, you are X. You are person X doing whatever it is. You have another closet. And you're somebody else. So you are somebody else in the same universe, in the same earth. Okay. Everybody else can be whoever they need to be, and they will adapt to whoever you are. So many of you have experienced that, right? You've changed dramatically. What did I do? I didn't change your psychology here. And that's what the problem is with self-improvement and technology and all that. This stuff stays the same, right? We don't necessarily, we change here very slowly, but the underlying factor is where you create yourself. So it goes way beyond what's between your ears. It's literally what rendering of yourselves do you want to put to life, or do you want to put on stage? So that's really the question. So many of you who have experienced massive changes, and again, comment in the massive changes. Did you notice I didn't change your psychology or anything like that? I changed the fourth coordinate, the fourth dimension on where you exist or where you see this one reality. I plop you over to a different point of view of yourself. Your reality changes. Other people seeing your reality or other people interacting with you changes. So that's how the multiverse works. And again, for more detail, you can go to Moss on the Moss Experience on the Best You TV. It gives you a little bit more on how that works. They said astral form. So in the movie, and again, I'm ruining it for some of you. In the movie, though, it's something to look forward to. So in the movie, Dr. Strange pushes, Peter Parker astral form out. So scientists don't like to use spirit; they use astral form because it's more sciencey, right? Crazy, right? There's a lot of definitions that science doesn't use. They redefine it somehow, but I redefine it as well because even the astral form has discrepancies in there for you. It's misunderstood, and that's why I like to redefine things. So it's you could call it your spirit, you could call it your astral form. And in the movie, where he gets pushed out, it's like, whoa, this feels so cool. It's amazing, but scary as hell. Because it is. It's like having a near death. And that's what happened to me twice, actually. I got pushed out and I existed consciously in my astral form. I don't know for how long, but long enough to understand the mechanics of how this reality works. You'd have to be conscious, though. Most people who get pushed out into a near-death experience or into their astral form, they're not really conscious because it is, they literally get knocked out, blacked out. So it's like blacking out, going to the moon, right? Right? It's so powerful. The G's would be so powerful that you'd blank out here. So you'd have to be conscious enough to get pushed out because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of momentum to push you out and still stay conscious and go, whoa, this is really cool. And then, get pulled back in. So that's the logistics of a proper near death, by the way. So is it real? Absolutely. In fact, that's the thing that controls you. Most people go, this is it. This is my conscious mind, and this is what controls me, and this is what consciousness is. It's not. It's not. Consciousness, it's not even your astral form, by the way. Consciousness is, the paradigm or, the blockchain actually of how this reality exists. Consciousness is literally the original blockchain. But again, another Moss on Sunday for that. So your astral form, I call it your timeless self. Your timeless self, some of you might call it your spirit. Scientists call it your astral form. I call it your timeless self. Your timeless self is that individual or that identity who is representing itself here in, say, a physical format or a shadow, or in some religions, a ghost. Okay. What do they call that in the Holy Ghost? So again, I'm covering science and then religions and so on like that. Holy Ghost is actually your physical form here. Okay. It's an aberration. Your real self is your astral form. Okay. That astral form, not awakened yet, or disoriented, distorted, will create a physical form of your space here. And that's the life that you experience. Most people change their physical form. You would have to change your astral form. So in that case, that essence or that part of the movie was real. And then if you guys want to ask anything else on that, anyway, comment in. Okay. The fabric of space-time. So they talk about the fabric of space-time, and Doctor Strange in the movie, he was with Peter Parker. It's like, he's changing time. Okay. He's opening up time and space and that. So the fabric of space-time is very, very different than what Einstein would consider it. Although the way I see it, and I am going to do a lecture series on that in depth on how space-time works, how space-time really works. And it literally, because there's a lot of holes in how they see like space-time or the fabric of space-time, how gravity works, how time functions and so on like that. I see it very, very clearly. In fact, I manipulate it. That's how I help you transform. So is the fabric of space-time, the way they describe it, real? Well, in a sense, it's kind of half real. Okay, it's half real in a sense that the fabric of space-time can break. Okay, if you've gone into, say, vortexes. What is a vortex on this Earth? So space-time is literally, or time is literally, to me, a molecule. Okay, it's not a cube. It's like a I don't know what you'd call it, like a yeah, it's like hexagonal type shape, but it's got about 13 sides to it. Okay, and they fit in with each other. So that would be considered a molecule or a sphere of space-time, as I would see it. Okay, and then from there, can it rip apart? Absolutely, it can rip apart. And then other, say, black holes or other portions of the fabric can get torn, but it literally creates, say, a void, a black hole, and then you'll have issues. It happens in space all the time to mend itself. When people talk about black holes out there, it's literally about the space-time, the fabric of space-time, say coming together and mending itself. And then so there's another black hole that happens, right? It comes to over time, you'll start to see it get stronger and stronger, and it'll mend itself. So that's how, say, the fabric of space-time works, or black holes, where black holes come about. So let's see. The vortexes. Oh yeah. So vortexes. And I was in where was I? Mexico, somewhere near Tulum. They had these pyramids, and the pyramid was built where the corners of the pyramid, every time, you walk through, and it's just like you literally would feel that you're going into another time frame. Your body would feel very, and it wasn't just me, it was a lot of other people. Once they walk through, and the reason why that happens is that you have a molecule, molecules of space-time, right? And then that's bunched up. Say you have one unit of space-time, and then that's bunched up into a box of 12, let's say, and that 12 is boxed into a bigger unit of another 12, and so on and so on and so on and so on. Okay, and then you have this huge, say, molecule of space-time with like billions or trillions of tiny molecules of space, just like your body, right? Your whole body is considered, you've got trillions of cells coordinated into what's called you. So the same thing with, say, space and time. So and then you have that huge, say, package, and then that package is next to this other huge package, and then that vortex literally is the two endpoints coming together. So if you were two humans put together, okay, it's just like where your skin would meet, right? It's that membrane of space-time. So when you walk through it, it's a different, say, scenario, or a different environment on how you would render yourself in space-time. Okay, so we can go, the Mayan runes. There we go. So we can go deeper and deeper into that. But again, we're almost running out of time. We're going to bring two individuals. It's the end of the month. So this is where I analyze two individuals, and I can see exactly what their programming is, how or what simulation of themselves are they running. That's really the key. Are you running the right simulation for yourself? Right? Probably not. Is there a simulation or another reality that could be better for you? Literally. So I don't change your mind. I don't change your attitude or anything, although that comes later. Literally, it's like I change the channel for you, right? In this simulation of how you're rendering yourself, it's like you're broken. You have no money. You're sick, whatever. You change the channel. Boom. You start rendering yourself differently. And then your body naturally adapts to it. And this is where people have cured themselves, healed themselves of crazy life-threatening diseases. Again, I'm not claiming to cure you or anything like that. I'm just changing the channel. It's up to you to heal yourself. Okay, so what does XI take on crop circles? Yeah, it's a good question. Crop circles. So it's a really long explanation. Hopefully I can shorten it for you. So, and I was talking about this on the BTM group, Breaking the Matrix group. It's a special group that we do. We go into higher levels of understanding, and also helps you understand where we can be successful in all aspects of our lives here. So we do a special group. Last night we did a special meditation, and I was explaining about, say, Jesus, and again, the man, not the religion, very, very different than the religion. And I was talking about how Jesus was actually, somebody from, say, would be considered in the future. So really quickly, how that works, or how crop circles work. Okay. And I'll just use Jesus, because it's about Christmas time and all that, a deeper understanding. So say that, it took, from him, It took 2022 years, roughly, right? So each year is a layer of consciousness, okay, that we've evolved. Okay. So for every layer we've peeled away, okay, to understand ourselves, because that's how we understand, that's how inventions come into mind. It's not somebody, it really explains a lot of things. And again, I'll talk about it in the lecture series. But overall, it took us 2022 years. Okay. So back then, about a couple thousand years ago, Jesus was living in a reality sometime, again, a higher level, like 2000 conscious layers higher. Okay. If each layer, or if each ear was a consciousness, that peels away. We all peel away and live into a different one. So in this scenario, you're always at level zero. Okay. You're at a level zero consciousness. Okay. Level zero is the playing field. It's the theater. It's where we have density of space and time. Okay. That's why it's always a level zero consciousness. We can never evolve, by the way. Okay? That's a myth. We can never evolve consciousness. We experience consciousness as it, say, keeps coming down into, say, a reality. Okay. It's always shedding, so to speak. It's always coming in, and then we experience it. And this is how we evolve. This is how new technology happens. So Jesus, he didn't live at the base layer like most of us do. He lived, again, 2022 years into the future. Get it? He experienced this reality again back then. Now, yeah, what we now experience, and then some of you might go, well, that how why is there so much chaos and bloodshed and all this bullshit coming up? Because when a consciousness that powerful comes into the physical reality and it's game time, all bullshit, all your lies, everything that ever has existed has to fall apart. So we're really awakening. Okay. The chaos that you see is that the chaos that you see is all the stuff that has to clear out because this new consciousness is coming in. Does that make sense to you? It's not just about, biblical times or anything like that. It literally happens all the time. Okay. I could give you a Tesla example. I could give you an Albert Einstein example. For example, Tesla, he would kind of see things, maybe 1,000 years into the future, whatever, with his great inventions, he would bring that future here today. So is that really the future? But think of it. So crop circles, and this gets back, I know it's a long way out to crop circles, but we'll bring it all home. So, for example, now that we have that idea, now that we have that concept, so we're living what Jesus lived 2,000 years ago. So would that be considered the future? Or is it the present moment time? What is it? So you have, say, a spiral effect of the future or time and then consciousness coming together. Okay. So take a deep breath in and we'll get into meditation. And then we'll bring on two people that I'll analyze. So crop circles. So now the same scenario kind of flipped around. Okay. So crop circles would be, say, higher beings. So Earth is at a level zero. It's always at a level zero because it's the densest. Okay, that's why we're actually looked at from other planetary beings, or even Stephen Hawking said there's got to be somebody out there, right? We're very high level here to create this much density. Take another breath in. So back in the day, maybe even before humans, there was higher level beings that existed, say, back then, maybe 1,000 layers higher than what Earth was back then, or 10,000 layers higher what Earth was back then. Okay. They would come into Earth and then they would create, I don't know, machinery, pyramids, whatever it might be. Take another breath in. And as they did that, and as consciousness, say, come down, so they created, say, 10,000 years or 10,000 layers of consciousness. I'm just throwing you a number, okay? So don't worry about the numbers. They existed, say, 500,000 years ago, or whatever it might be, 100,000 years ago. But they were living in a consciousness much higher than what Earth was back then, okay? For us to experience and see, say, the crop circles or the pyramids or anything else, we would have to wait for those layers of consciousness to come down. And then when it does come down, that's where we're in the same, say, frequency as that layer. And then what happens is that, well, shit, it's like, whoa, we get to see it. And this is where, if you've ever wondered, like, how did they just discover something new, right? They discovered a whole new thing in India. It's a huge city. It's beautiful. It's like, how could you miss it? Especially with, global satellites and all that. How could you miss it? Because we didn't miss it. We couldn't see it because we're not in the same frequency that that thing was created. So as we go by, as we awaken, whatever happened in the past, so to speak, but not really the past, whatever happened in another consciousness, for us, it'd be the past. Whatever happened in that other consciousness would reappear here. Does that make sense to you? This is how we would naturally, or in the future, start to understand how the pyramids were built. Or this is in case of this crop circle. So back then, they probably produced crop circles for some reason, maybe a landing, whatever it might be, or just art. I would just see it as art. They would create art pieces on them because of, again, geometry and so on. The key, mathematics, the key to everything. Now we're seeing those beautiful crop circles in today's world, although it happened in the future past. Does that make sense to you, how all that works, right? So again, consciousness, time coming down, and then we see it. They just created that consciousness back here. Okay? Same thing with inventions, by the way. All right. Hopefully that confused you enough. But yep, exactly. It's like the discovery of new planets and stellar bodies, only when human consciousness is ready. Yep. And it's not about you being ready or not. It's literally about the consciousness comes in. Whether you're ready or not, it doesn't really matter. Right. And that's the sad thing about it. Many of us today are, say, not ready. So the new consciousness comes in. If you're not ready, well, you can't take your old bullshit with you into the new consciousness. You would cease to exist. Fortunately, that's what's happening. So, all right. So let's, so this next half, now we usually, analyze people. I just scan people online. What we're going to do, love your shirt, Moss, whole box. Yeah, I was out there. It's really nice. If you're into kite surfing, guys, it's really a great place to be there. There's also another place. I forgot its name. It's not too far from Holbach. Really beautiful place in Mexico, and it's really quiet. So it's really, really beautiful. We'll probably do an event there, by the way. So those of you interested, again, watch out for that. Moss, is there a living matrix? Kind of explain that. And an artificial matrix? Yes, there's only one living matrix. Okay? There's only one real reality. And then from that, you have, I would say, billions of, say, alternate realities. How you're existing in human form, that's an alternate reality for you. Okay? Or an artificial reality. There's only, again, one reality for you. All right. Yami, let's go ahead and bring on the first guest. I think it's Jennifer. Yeah, here we go. And then we've got Kevin. Jennifer, hi. Can you?
Hello. Woohoo. Hi, Mas. And hello,
hi,
everybody.
How are you?
Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm so excited.
Oh, you're so excited.
Amazing.
Well, you get to have your life back.
Yes.
So, Jennifer, I just have to
Wonderful.
read this for you and for you and Kevin. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose, heal, or anything like that. I scan your frequency signature for whatever that I see. Okay, so again, consult your doctor if I give you medical advice or any other advice. So if you ask to be scanned, you agree that we may use your session in any public media to inspire others. Okay, and all contents, by the way, are all protected. Is that okay with you? Is that okay for me to analyze you or scan you, if you will?
Yes, that's okay.
Alrighty.
I'm happy with it.
Fantastic. And again, the deep personal stuff, we'll keep it general. You might want to do a private session or something like that to get even deeper. So I've never read you. How much XI have you done?
I have the first done in this December, so it was
so
great. I love it.
The 18-day hyper meditations?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Tell me about it. Well, tell others about it.
It was so amazing. I feel like I have a lot more trash put out the window, and it's get lighter for me. And I was so in love with it, so that I have registered myself for the upcoming event in January for
the total human reset.
Yes.
Yeah, for you it'd be perfect. It would be perfect for you, Jennifer. Yeah, because it's a whole new life for you. Yeah, so she's talking about the 18-day hyper meditations that'll come out the next time around in February. It's every other month. But on January, we're going to do the total human reset. It's a really good start for the new year. And if you've failed, New Year's resolutions, you'd want to do the total human reset to reset you. And we do reset you, just like Jennifer, in about 18 days, right, Jennifer? A lot of things have transformed for you. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. And it's no psychology. I don't go, it's no psychology. It's no attitude change, although that is shifting for you. But, and did you notice, Jennifer, that you really didn't do anything? You kind of just transitioned into a different version of yourself. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, okay. like the scan today, it does not expected. So the things happen. So it flows more in my life. The flow is coming more. So absolutely. Naturally, abundance, I think. Yes.
That's beautiful. So for you, and again, I'm just working on you. And as I work on Jennifer, if you especially have similar patterns, I'll be working on you as well. That's why it's just so nice to just benefit from other people's experiences so you don't have to go through them. All right, take a deep breath in, Jennifer, and then just notice this area right here for you. Okay, there's always been a heaviness in your heart from what I'm seeing. Does that make sense? And that's why you can never feel fulfilled. Even if you had the happiest day of your life, whatever that would be, is always like a cloud around it. Does that make sense to you? Or there's always like something the next day or very soon that will like limit how long you could stay in that happiness. Does that make sense to you? How that works?
Like a cage sometimes, then I cannot go out of it. And I want to live a happy life and be healing more, but it doesn't not going forward or something. And I don't know why. But I feel there is a blockage. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And like you said, it's like a cage. Even if you saw the possibilities of what you could be and how happy you could be, right? You'd go, I can't do that. I can't be in that moment in time. Does that make sense? I couldn't be connected. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, the connection is not for, I cannot hold on to it. The connection is here, but then it cuts and I'm searching for it again.
Yeah. Yes. And physically, physically what's happening or what you would experience, and I'll give you the underlying version of it. I just want to get the overlying version of it, because then you go, and then I'll give you and then work on you as well to remove it. This is where friends will connect with you to a deep level, but they go, God, I really, really love Jennifer, but I can't really connect with her. Or you would go, God, I really, love this person or connect with this person, especially intimate wise. And it's like, why don't I feel that thing? Why does it feel so numb to me after, you get deeper and deeper into a relationship, and that's where your relationships, intimate relationships, will start to fail. Does that make sense to you? It's like numbing.
They are always broken. In the
Absolutely.
end, it's
And you have such a
again and
beautiful
again.
heart. Yeah, I see a lot of relate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, pretty impressive, huh? I
Not
see.
hold on.
Let's just say I see at least 10, which is quite a bit.
In my heart, there are 10.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And each one is like, well, what happened there? It's like there's no real reason on why that relationship should have broken down. Does that make sense? And that's what confuses you. It's like, so what is going on? What's the real reason? We can't get to it. No, we'll get to it today. Does that make sense to you?
I don't know why I think of this guy every day, but I see him over a year not, and I don't know what is going on there.
Yeah.
And it's so much love, but it's all toxic, and
it's toxic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Take a breath in, huh? So you are living the pain of something that happened to your mom. So say that, for example, you're a young girl, like about 3, 4 years old. Okay. You're a young girl and you're looking at your mom and she has a tragedy. Okay. Yeah, she has a tragedy or something going on there. And I can explain it if you want. It gets a little personal, but so it's up to you. Okay. And I could be totally wrong, but I've been about 99.9% accurate. There could be little slight variations, but anyway. So do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Okay. So you're, again, the reason why all this is happening, because you're younger, and I'll tell you so you can just release it. Okay. You're a young kid, like, again, 3 to 4 years old. You're seeing a lot of pain, a lot of hurt in the heart space from your mom. You are a lover of people. You just love people. You love nature. You love everything, basically, which is really nice. You embrace everything. Even if they're a bad person or bad for you, it's like you'll find something good about them. Does that make sense? It's like, oh, it's okay. But then that's not good either, because all their slimy stuff gets on you because your heart is open, because you want to be loved or liked so much, right? But there's no reason. You can be really picky. You're a beautiful woman, hon, and you're very smart, and you're very, cordial, you're funny and all that, but you sell yourself short because you don't know how valuable you are, for this one reason. Take a breath in, just notice your heart space. And for those who are kind of similar to this, who've carried on the burdens of their parents. Okay. So back in the day, wow. Yeah. Back in the day, and this will explain a lot of things. And you're ready, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, please.
Okay.
I'm like SpongeBob, and
it's got to do with your parents, your mom, by the way. Okay. And it could be your dad. I'm just getting a feminine frequency. So if your dad is feminine, it'd be him. So back in the day, and I think it's your mom though, your mom was in love with somebody other than your dad. Actually, like 2 people. But she ended up marrying your father. So that pain of loving somebody else and not getting married, and then later on, it seems like they might have had like a second chance to get back together, but for some reason, and maybe they did, for a tryst or whatever, a little affair, but something happened. Maybe they were both married, and they got together, and it's like, oh my God, we still love each other so deeply. But then that pain of that situation of not being connected to the one that they should have been in love with together, was really hard for your mom, or is hard for you. Is your mom still around?
It's difficult. We have not so much contact. She's always going away. She's like a rejection art or so.
Yeah,
she's very afraid with people, and She's throwing me out with when I was 70 years old from the home, and she's special and searching for her own luck, I think. Yes.
Well, she gets angry at the world. She gets angry at the world. It's like, shit, why did God? And then you get the religion aspect of it too. You know, it's like God is teasing me. It's like I had the perfect love, whatever, but it didn't happen. You know, now I'm married and your dad could be a nice person, whatever. It doesn't matter. Her heart was set on this other person. Does that make sense to you? And they never got it. And then now it's like over time, you know, the relationship with your father gets worse and worse, and it just becomes numb to her because she's also she what she does. And by the way, it's not about your father. It literally is what she does is she pulls away from realities. So no matter how good she has it, there's another reality that's always better. So if you've ever experienced her, nothing was good enough in the moment for her. It'd always be something else. Does that make sense to you? So your father would never be good enough. That lover that she has so she always wants what she can't have. Get it? And she's never happy with what she has. Okay. You are not like that. You would be the opposite. You love whatever you have, but you can never experience. That's the problem with, say, you know, my parents were X. I'm the opposite of X. My parents were wealthy, you know, and, you know, the wealth sucked because you associated wealth wrong. And I'm talking about you, hon, or it could be you, not, yeah. So you're kind of like the opposite. So, you know, you do the opposite. My parents were religious or non-religious. I'm religious or non-religious. You get the same result because it's a reflection, right? You always have to reference your parents for you to be opposite. Well, if you're always referencing something to be the opposite, you're going to get the same result. So your mom basically despised everything or pushed everything away because she could never get what she wanted or was happy. Even if she did get it, it would soon lose its luster and she'd want something else. You're the total opposite. You want everything and you want everything to work out. Does that make sense? You love everything. She pushes away everything. Get it? So let's do this. Let's take a deep breath in, hon. You've done a great job through the 18 days. Remember what you said is like you put everything away or pushed everything out of you. Okay.
Yes.
Mostly your mom. There's some of your dad's stuff, by the way, but you've pushed everything out, but you put it on the curb. So it's trash day for you, Jennifer. You just didn't know how to delete all those patterns. Again, you've taken it out of you, so to speak. So I'm your friendly neighborhood trash man. Let's get rid of all the trash that you go, this isn't me, this isn't me, this isn't me, this isn't me, right? And I'll just delete it for you. And you're good with that, right? And are you all ready for it too? Okay, so we'll just do it as a group level for you. Let's take a breath in, guys. Somebody going, my body is whipping around. Crazy energy. Absolutely. Guys, just let it go. Center yourself here. Okay. Again, you're flipping into another simulation. You're literally changing the channel. That's what you're feeling. Another breath in again. Notice your center, then you're growing right down into the hips. And for all you, and you as well, Jennifer, just notice all those things that you wanted to let go of. Okay. And wonder, and ask yourself this question as you wonder, it's like, how do those things come into my life? What patterns or what programs or what simulation am I running that's allowing this to happen, allowing this to experience? Just ask yourself that. Allowing me to experience what I'm experiencing. Another breath in. Notice your spine. And for you, Jennifer, again, pay specific attention to your spine.
Can I ask you, that's why I have so much pain in the spine, like since 3 weeks ago, and I don't overcome it, or cannot let it go? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you hold memories in your bones, by the way.
Okay.
or emotions in your bone structure. Some people go, well, I can feel it in my bones. Well, you're the type of person that would hold memories or identities or experiences in the DNA of your bones. Although it affects others, you'll feel it in your bones. And then also you have a softer bone structure. But take a breath in again, huh? Notice your hips. Your hips feel like your grandma's patterns. There you go. And then also you have a softer bone structure. So it seems like when you went through puberty, like 12, 13, 14, parts of your bone structure are solid. And again, not a doctor. And then parts of your bone structure didn't turn into like an adult bone structure. So your upper, like from here on up, your bone structure is more of an adult. And then from here on down, again, sexual identity and all that stuff, you're more of a younger person. That's why you might feel wiser, older, if that makes sense to you. And then at the same time, feel like a little girl, right? Because it literally is a frequency. It's like half of you, this upper half is a woman, the lower half is of a younger girl, like I want to say stuck at 14. So let's work on that as well. Okay. And that's why I like intimacy and all that stuff, although it doesn't feel complete for you. It doesn't feel quite right for you. Does that make sense? A lot of women have issues, some sort of issues, and they go, wow, you just got to try it this way and that. It's not about that. It literally is what rendering or what age frame are you running when you're having intimacy, whether it's, with your spouse or a lover or a one-night stand, whatever. You'd have to fix the underlying value structure. So let's bring you all into one time frame. Again, upper half, an older version, lower half. That's why sometimes you would do childish things. Get it? Even if you're alone, you might do childish things. So it'd be kind of like a secret, which isn't a secret anymore because we're in public now. But you know what I mean? Just to fulfill that younger, like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14-year-old. Take a breath in again. So let's create. How old are you? If you don't mind me asking, just give me a rough age. How old are you, hon?
Sorry. Wait, 30,
It's
34.
Okay. 34, yeah.
The English is not so, yes.
Yeah, no worries. Let's put you back. Let's flip you back to about 27-ish. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah, take a breath in. I know it sounds crazy. I change people's time clock. That's the way you're supposed to do it, not with, you have again, something outside of you, but the jab and all that stuff. And they talk about mRNA and all that stuff, and they don't do it right. Literally, they're like archaic compared to how I change the communication between your cells. I do it in a positive way. They only know 1%, if less than that, of how the mRNA communicates with your cell structure. So anyway, let's reset you. So you'll feel really confused. A lot of you will feel confused if you're running the same pattern as Jennifer. You'll feel really old, and then you'll feel really young, Jennifer, like you do anyway. And then you'll see the extreme differences, and then you'll get closer and closer. It's like, oh gosh, I feel like a vibrant 27-year-old, but you'll have the wisdom of an older person. Does that make sense? Any questions as we end? How are you feeling?
I feel great. It's hot here. Thank you so much, Mas, for your time. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Yeah, she looks 22. Absolutely. Yeah. So nice. So we'll go on to Kevin. And by the way, guys, it literally is that simple. You go, God, that doesn't last. It lasts longer than psychology, because with psychology, you have to force yourself, and it takes a hell of a long time to change, right? If ever. So that would be like, again, like at least 2 decades of therapy, and a lot better. Hey, Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, going really well. Thanks, Mash. Thanks for very grateful for the opportunity to be here.
Oh, absolutely. You don't mind if I analyze you and just share what I see with you, right? Is that okay?
Love it. Fantastic.
Alrighty. So we'll just jump right in. You've got a lot of head stuff going on, buddy. A lot of head. Holy crap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Just give me a second. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So, yeah. So what have you done with XI?
Just done the 18-day meditation this December.
Oh, awesome. And how do you like it?
Yeah, great. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, isn't it?
Really good.
Can I tell you what you're experiencing, and you just tell me if you're accurate or not? You
Sure.
basically have like 7 realities open to you, or 7 doppelgangers of Kevin open to you, if that makes sense to you. And now through the 18 days, you're actually seeing, it's like, hey, wait a second. You're seeing clearly the situations, or why you're in the situations that you are. Does that make sense to you? Because you're stepping backwards, and it's like, holy shit, I just turned into another person or another identity of myself. Does that make sense? I don't know how to explain it, but you can explain it now.
Yeah, sure. Up till very recently, I've got a pretty good job, support a wife and 3 kids, and the jab mandate is knocking on my door, which doesn't sit very comfortable with me at all. And I've found myself, it's actually really been doing my head in on a massive level. And I found doing the hyper meditation, it's helped me settle that, but it's also it's made me realize that I definitely don't want to go down that path. There's other experiences, opportunities. There's a lot more positive stuff that I can do rather than just go down that 3D matrix.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're seeing, and so, and the underlying reason for you, Kevin, on where you are is that I say that you live 7 different realities. So basically there are 7 different versions of Kevin. Does that make sense to you? So let me explain. So when you're with your father, you would turn into the Kevin that your father would like. Get it?
Yes.
Okay. When you're with your mom, it's a totally different version of Kevin with your mom. Does that make sense to you?
Yep. Sure.
Okay. When you, and so you've learned back in the day, it's like, shit, in order to please somebody, because was there alcoholism in your lineage? Father's side? Yeah. And then
my pop side,
abuse, like physical abuse too?
Probably not physical, just verbal.
Yeah, verbal. But then I think maybe your father was physically abused.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. So you might want to check it out.
Yep.
Yeah. So you got that verbal abuse. I see your father being physically abused. And the reason why this is important, my friend, for you and then for others as well, it's because, say, in your family lineage, the way they would see religion is like, if you were doing something wrong, okay, you would get smacked. Your father, your grandfather, okay, and not because you did anything wrong, it's because they wanted to smack the devil out of you so you become a good person. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay, so it's that kind of scenario. But basically I would see that as abuse. But a lot of people, again, they would run that. How many of you had parents like that? It's like, God, this is for your own good. You need to get smacked or abused, basically, to drive out the evil and then push in the good in you. So the point is that for you, you would have to, at some level, abuse yourself or sacrifice yourself to be a really good person, there's always a sense of sacrifice. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, sort of, Mass.
Well, look at your kids. You'd sacrifice anything for your kids.
Yes.
You wouldn't have to do that, right? And that's, yeah, it's like, do you have to sacrifice? And that sounds really kind of strange, well, you don't sacrifice. But the deal is that in order for your kids to thrive, you would have to not thrive, is my point.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
In order for your wife to thrive, you would not have to thrive, is my point. It creates a separation. One has to thrive, the other one has to die off. It's not a good pattern. Okay. Back in the day in your families, and it comes from a good reason from what I'm seeing. Back in the day, there might have been not enough food or not enough, for some reason, everybody couldn't go. So somebody sacrificed their lives for the other people to have a good life. So that pattern is stuck in your DNA. Does that make sense to you? That's why you're always like exchanging, say, and it feels good for you. A lot of people do that, but you don't have to do that. That time where that was necessary, it worked then, but you don't have to use the same tool, Kevin. So let's get rid of that for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So that's one aspect of it. You don't have to beat yourself up, basically. And you get used at your job, by the way.
Sorry, Mass?
You get used at your job.
Yep.
You put in a hell of a lot of work. And this is how that happens, what I just said. And you don't get the respect or the pay grade for what you do. That makes sense to you?
Yep.
Yep. You would allow, and maybe you were pissed at somebody else that actually got upgraded. I don't know what you'd call it. Promoted, and you didn't. Yeah. Does that make sense? It's like you should have been promoted, or you should have taken. What was that about?
No, not really. With the actual job I'm doing, it's a good paid job, but it's not the career that I want to be stuck in. So I'm not really too fussed about it.
No, it's not about the job, Kevin. It's about why did they get promoted, or why did they get a better version where I stayed behind. You do the bulk of the work where other people enjoy the benefits. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah. So take a breath in again. So with the 7 different, say, realities that you exist in, you've created 7 different versions of yourself depending on, because in your pattern is like, in order for people to like me, I need to be the Kevin that they want me to be. And it's kind of draining for you because you would have to run a lot of different versions of yourself. You're a different version with your kids than you are with your wife. So again, you've got like 7 different, say, literally personalities, which is different than split personalities, different than living in other realities, different than you literally is like, this is Kevin. What mask am I going to wear to be in the company of this person? But inside, you're still the same Kevin. And that's what really, let's just say, fucks you up, Kevin, because it's like you go home and it's like, I didn't get anything out of the relationship. I didn't get anything out of the situation. And that's what really bothers you. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely does. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because you're not the one on stage. It's like, hey, the real Kevin can't come out. And the real Kevin is a super nice guy.
Yeah.
But the other Kevin that's always out there always feels like he's being used, or the real Kevin will feel like you're being used. Even if it's a really good relationship, that's not the real Kevin in that relationship. Get it? And you'd feel out or disconnected from it. So that's why. So literally you create a mask for yourself, and you're a very good reader of people. You'll go, wow, what does that person want me to be like? And then you morph into it. And then you go, wow, Kevin's a super nice guy, but Kevin will never experience Kevin in that relationship because you have to be somebody else. So that's the problem. You've got 7 mainstays of, again, personalities for you. Take a breath in, bud. That all make sense to you?
Makes a lot of sense, Mass, and I think that's why I've also, I know I've got so much more potential that I can use, but I'm not doing it, and that also doesn't gel well with me as well.
Oh, absolutely. No matter how much success you'd have on the outside, Kevin, you would always say you have so much more potential because the inside Kevin is not experiencing it. Get it? The outside Kevin would be. So that's the key. A lot of times, this is what happens on extreme examples, which I help a lot of high-level CEOs with. This is where those individuals have an identity of being a CEO. And they're all this stuff on stage. And there's a lot of self-improvement people like that as well. They're all that stuff on stage, but when they go off stage or when they're off, say, their company, right, they're isolated. All the darkness, all the insecurities, all that stuff. Like you were never recognized as a young kid, by the way. All that pain like shows up. It's like, God, hey Moss, you know, I'm a billionaire, but damn, I don't feel good. I'm not happy. This is the reason why, because again, success is a magnifier. You're just running a different version of it or a different level of success. So what I'm doing for you the imposter syndrome is a little different, by the way. What I'm doing for you, Kevin, is it's a little different where, and this is what you'll experience. So imagine, and we all can do, let's just do this as a visual, okay? And then XI visuals are very different, okay? So take a deep breath in. You can close your eyes, Kevin, if you want. Okay. So imagine you in the center. And then for you, Kevin, there would be 7 different versions of you. Okay. They're just like a facade or, you know, a costume that you are. Okay. 7 different versions of you. For you all as well, how many versions do you have? You know, do you play, are you different? You know, if you're in a CEO role, right? Are you different being a mother? Are you different being a wife? Are you different, you know, in front of your parents? Of course, we all react differently, but again, we literally change our identity, our taste, our whole identity. That's the type that I'm talking about. Breath in again. So do you see those 7 different identities that you have, Kevin?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Very draining too, Mass.
Yeah, some of them go back older, especially like in your 30s. It's just like you were really lost around then, and you try to create an identity for yourself, and it's like, shit, that's not me either, you know. Anyway, breath in again. Again for Kevin and then others. Okay. So what happens is, Kevin, you're behind, and then say that you're in front of your boss or you're in a work environment. Step into that identity of the 7. I actually felt you shift. I don't know if you felt yourself shift, but you literally created a different simulation of yourself. Did you notice that shift? Your whole body like literally changed. Okay. Now, if it was an extreme shift, your face would morph into somebody else. Okay. So it's very interesting. So step back out. So now there's a positive to that. There's a benefit on why you've created those realities. So I can't shut them down, because then the real Kevin that's coming back wouldn't know who it is. But what I'm doing for you here, and I would suggest another session, or, you know, you could do it on your own. It just takes longer. So what I'm doing for you now, for you, Kevin, and then for others, is simply that when you step into, say, that role, you go, oh, I'm stepping into this role. And then you'll take the benefits of that role. And then when you step back out, like you just did, you take the benefits of that role, put it into the Kevin that's real. Okay. You would step into the Kevin that pleased mom and dad, even if your mom and dad wasn't around. Right. And this is what messes up your kids, by the way. You turn into somebody else that they don't know. And you're one of your kids going, I want the real dad, not this one that, because you basically create a version of your dad to interact with your kids. Does that make sense to you? The real Kevin.
Yeah, it does.
There. And it's like, yeah, I'm playing with my kids. And why doesn't it feel real where your kids feel it even more? It's like, what's that? It's like, Dad, take that thing off you. And you'll see that right away. Okay. At first, it might be a little disorienting to be more sensitive or vulnerable to your kids and your wife, but it's the best feeling, Kevin, because they'll just embrace the real you for real. There's also a disconnect between you and your wife as well, from what I'm seeing. And you go, God, we're really good people and we both love each other. But what the hell is going on? Obviously, your wife has her own versions of issues and all that. But if you remove yours and step into, hey, this is the real me, she gets really comfortable and she lets go of never being accepted by men. That's the way she runs, by the way. Anyway, yeah. So whenever you do, take a deep breath in again, buddy. Notice the head, the back of the neck. We got to get going. Anyway, so you're going to step into those personalities. You're going to keep the stuff that you like about that personality, bring it back home to you. And then in a short time, you'll start to see those personalities. You don't have to step into those personalities. You are this personality one. And then you adapt. And you start to really enjoy yourself as a father, as a business person, as a husband, as a lover, as whatever. It's Kevin doing it, which is going to be really amazing. And even people are saying you look brighter. I don't know, you had whatever on your face, you look a lot healthier, by the way, because if you're separated like that, you're basically running 7 different versions on one battery, and it drains the hell out of you. So physically, nerve wise and all that, because it's disorienting for your nerves to go, well, where the hell am I? And it creates shorts in your nerves. And that's where you might have like physical pain, but it's due to nerve pain in the organs and in the bones, from what I'm seeing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. How do you feel, by the way?
Pretty good. Lighter.
Yeah. You feel like you're really here? Yeah.
Pardon?
You feel like you're really here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't even notice that you're really here. You're not playing in it. You're not playing a charade, buddy. It's the real you. And you go, wow. And you're gonna feel like, damn, you're washing dishes. It's like, damn, this is the first time I'm washing dishes. Or you're playing with your kids. It's like, wow, this is the first time I'm playing with my kids. It's that real for you.
Yeah, fantastic, Mass.
Yeah, enjoy it, buddy.
That's great.
Yeah.
Mass, can I just tell you one thing? Just one more thing I've got out of the 18-day meditation. I normally I go to a chiropractor once a month. I get a lot of pain sort of in the middle of my back type thing.
Yep.
Through the whole 18 days, I hadn't been to the chiro for a while. I'm thinking, I'm loosening up. I feel good. I feel great. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah, it's amazing how those things disappear.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, we hear that all the time. That's so nice. Well, wonderful, buddy. Take care.
Thanks a lot, Mass.
You
really
bet, buddy.
Appreciate it.
You bet. So now you start to understand, guys, what really happens or why the underlying reasons. Again, time, space, it's different simulations of yourself. It's got nothing to do with what's here. That comes later. When you change your simulation of how you're rendering yourself here in the multiverse, you adapt really quickly, and then your psychology, your pain, or whatever else disappears because it doesn't operate in that simulation. It's very, very different. It's a new frontier on how we not only change physically, our human life, but then we also change the world that way. All right, guys. have a great, fantastic New Year's. Look for Moss on Sunday. Tell your friends about it. The best of all, please subscribe. Please subscribe to the Moss on Sundays and watch it live if you can. All right, guys, notice what you notice and then notice those details. All right, peace. It's one of the best opportunities in history to awaken and reclaim who you really are. Any relationship starts with, that relationship with yourself. I'm actually here to change your underlying program on how you see yourself in relationships. What we do here in Exponential Intelligence is literally change you from the ground or your main framework, okay? Your blueprint level.
As obviously works on a frequency level, and frequencies are like the A-bomb of healing because they fundamentally change your structure from a biological, chemical point of view. Maz's frequencies or Maz's meditations, they recalibrate that innate ability for a human being to come back towards homeostasis.
I think this type of thing, your work, XI, all that is a epigenetic factor. I think it is a great influence because if you can turn a genome on, you can turn it off. And I think that with XI, with what you do, I think those are higher levels of a person that have not been turned on yet that need to be turned on.
Right.
You can go in and hit like that little switch.
Yes.
Turn that on, and it might be something new for this person because it's something different, but that's what we want. This is all what we're wanting is a better way, a higher way of existing and living and being.